And then what we find is about 40% of the workforce is now working virtually, working mobilely, or even working as a part of the gig economy. How many of you are familiar with the gig economy? What's the gig economy? Yes, easy going, several jobs. She said not much commitment. Well, what they're doing is working several jobs in addition to the one that they have as their full-time day job. Or maybe I don't want a full-time job. Maybe I want 3 gigs. Or I'll work for you, but I'll drive Uber on the weekends and at night. Or I'll be a pizza driver. Or I'll put my second home up on Airbnb. Or I'll just be a website designer and become a part of Elance or Fiverr. That's the gig economy. And more of the workforce have gigs now, making it a real challenge for organizations around the world on how do you build the kind of culture that allows flexibility, less loyalty, less commitment to working long-time, full-time jobs. And how do we allow them to also work virtually? How many of you have people that are working with you or clients that you work with that are not in your purview? They are somewhere else located around the country or around the world. Absolutely, this is the future. Well, this is today. And the future is going to continue to grow and increase in the number of people who are working virtually and mobily. And I know we can all relate to this, is that we now have 5 generations in the global workforce. The 5th one entered the workforce last year. They were the Generation Zs, right? So it's interesting because one of the most common calls that I get from companies is to come and help them, teach them how to lead across generations. That's what they say, lead across generations. But it's interesting when I get inside of the organizations, what I often find out is they just really wanted me to come in and teach them how to deal with these millennials. See, the leading across generations is a nice professional code word for help. We don't know what to do with these millennials, and oftentimes they're the ones that have raised them, and they're coming into the workforce now, right? Got a lot of helicopter parents out there who are still calling into the workplaces saying, how come Johnny didn't get a raise? He's been there for a year. How come Johnny is not the president of the company? He's been there 2 years. He knows his stuff. He can Google everything. He has all the answers. These are the kinds of calls and conflicts and complaints that I get. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. This is the realities of the workforce, is that it's very different. It's much more global, much more diverse, much more hyper-connected, virtual, mobile, multi-generational, multicultural, and multi-ethnic. This is the complexity of the workforce. This is the VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous.